Hello, and welcome to the Godot community for High School Visual Art 3D. The last time we started an activity based on Richard Serra's verb list that was intended to help students break through that creative wall. Once students complete the activity, how can the results be used? On its own, the activity is a great way to sort of demystify, if you will, abstract and non representational content. But it's also a really great way for students to gain an understanding of how to effectively use simple materials. The way that I use the outcome is to begin teaching students how to photograph 3D work and everything that entails. I have students analyze how the materials communicated meaning, the processes they use, their successes and failures. And in some cases, it's been used as ideation for future works. So, from a practical angle, this exercise offers a really great opportunity for students to learn how to effectively document their work. Since the works are small scale and white, they're really a great subject. In some cases, depending on the material, students might have the opportunity to play with the translucency of the paper. You can see in the image on the top right where the paper's been folded in layer, it's creating a darker value, which is really sort of a nice quality of that thinner paper that student used. Students learn that they need to photograph on a nice clean background. They need to photograph from multiple points of view. They practice using purposeful lighting, and they begin to understand how light and shadow affect how the work is viewed or how the viewer is interacting with the work. So all of these things are, going to be a really important part when they or if they move on to an AP or IB course, which is going to require them documenting their work. But also, it's a really great way for them to understand that when you are documenting your work, if a person is only seeing the documentation, how are you using that as an opportunity to reinforce what you are communicating? So, after the students have photographed their work, I have them supply written evidence about their process. So, how each work has effectively communicated the verb? How have they used lighting and point of view to help even reinforce that? Students discuss how the material's been manipulated, um, how effective they were. I think it's important for students to identify both what did and didn't work. That's all part of the reflection and learning process. I will typically have students address the role of craftsmanship, the difference between loose and poorly crafted work, the importance of intention, but also embracing serendipity and epiphany. And I think that especially when students are working in an experimental and exploratory way, those times of serendipity, I meant to do this but then it did this, I love those moments. So I think that having students document that is important as well. After students have documented, where can you go after that? I think that students can use these exercises as a jumping off point for future sculptural works. And this can be done by making larger scale or more refined versions of the smaller work, or simply by using the concept of making work that is based on an action word. So if you look at the work on the left as an example in plaster and dowel, wood dowels, that was based on a smaller manipulated paperwork, but then made, and of course refined and simplified so it doesn't completely replicate the paper, but the paper was definitely part of the ideation for the larger project. Whereas the image on the right, or the work on the right, was made from shapes of wood that were just assembled to express a verb. So using the actual ideation or creativity activity to then create a work that expresses a word. And I think both with some success. Thank you so much. I hope that this has been useful information, and I will see you next time.